much my body had gone. Okay, I'm sorry I'm late. We're starting 15 minutes late. Getting everything together. And so I apologize. Hopefully we won't go 15 minutes over time. I'll try not to. So Ale, just start the prayers. Sashi Puki Jukshe Metotram Viralinchi Kempati Sande Shindu Jokunanda Shinda Chaparshu Suki Chaknama Jamshu Vardu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chushingi Pesanaki Droha Penshir Sangye Jukarshu Shulam Suki Choknama Jamshu Vardu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chushingi Pesanaki Jola Penshir Sangye Jukarshu Shulam Suki Choknama Jamshu Vardu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chushingi Pesanaki Jola Penshir Sangye Jukarshu. So there were a couple things from last night that I wanted to get back to. And I think I forgot one more, which I'll have to check later. But we were talking about what happens in the middle of an ocean on a dark night, right? And I went back to see how it was supposed to be written, and in fact, I went back to the reading for Course 13. And it said it was a little bit different in what it said. It gave two different circumstances. One was just about there's no smoke there because there's no fire there. And the other one was something about juniper trees. And I don't remember exactly right now what it was because it was late last night. But anyway, we're talking about being in a place, say looking out at the mountains here and seeing that there's no smoke. Therefore, there is no fire. Right? And as we do know, earlier this year, we saw smoke and we automatically went fire, right? So if smoke had been there, then the reason used, right, fire, it would have been there. So that's basically what it's talking about. So we're proving the absence of the result. There's no smoke because there's no fire. The result of proving the absence of its cause. So the absence of the result because there's an absence of the cause. So without fire, there can't be any smoke. So that, and I had smoke twice on there, so it should have been, There is no smoke out there because there is no fire out there. And just in my typing. And then Nicole caught that I had the same definition for two different things. And we're talking about the proofs of a reason. And there were three of them. Right? So the last one, I believe it was, Deju ki madru paten seek. Paten seek. No, it's the second one, in fact, is an inaccurate reason for a particular proof.
It's the third one.
It's the third one, thank you. Your memory is better than mine. So the third one, hold on, and I will go back and give you all three. I'll bring up my Tibetan. Nope, spelled it wrong. The first one was Deju Ki Gyelwe Tensik, which was the quality you're trying to prove totally contradicts the reason. The second one is Deju Ki Man Nepe Tensik. The quality you're trying to prove is not definitely proven by the reason. And the third one is Deju Ki Madrup Tensik. The reason given is inaccurate. And Deju means for particular proof, so I put that in there for a particular proof. So just wanted to clarify that for everybody. So now, let's do a quick meditation. A person or a situation that you had a negative reaction to, and then go looking for the self-existence of that person or experience. And once you go through that, if you find they aren't there within that time, stay with that understanding. Does that make sense? You go looking for the flower, just going to take that as an example, that's not there without your projection of it. And you keep looking and looking and looking and looking for something that is there that exists without your projection, something that is self-existent. And once you feel like you can't go any further, or that you could go further infinitely further, stay with that understanding that there is nothing out there that is not your projection forced on you by your past karma. Okay. 5 minutes. Okay, slowly come back to this room. 3 long breaths. So I have a question for you. Would that person or experience even exist if you weren't present for you? It couldn't. So I think that's another arrow pointing to this person is coming, or this experience is coming from you. If you take yourself out of the equation, what happens? For you. Doesn't mean for anybody else. And unless you're omniscient, you don't know what anybody else is experiencing.
But you know no one else is experiencing exactly the same thing that you are, so you can
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're on to a different way of approaching emptiness and karma. I'm not going to say we're on to a different subject because it all just keeps coming right back to that. And I was thinking about this last night, how every class, is about karma and emptiness, and we're just taking it from, we're on now course 14, from 14 different angles at least, right? So we're reviewing course 14. It's called Lojong, Developing the Good Heart. Lo is another word like sem for mind, and jong means to make it pure or to practice, because by practicing we make it pure. It's often translated as mind training, and it can refer both to training the mind, lo joning, lo joning, and individual lojongs, which are advices on how to train the mind. And what else is our Buddhist practice with this? Training our minds from their negative habits, their wrong way of looking at things, more productive, more positive state of mind. And all the great teachers, all the great masters say this, and they love to teach this as well. So what are we as practitioners doing? We're becoming an awakened one. We're waking up. We're becoming an enlightened one. And the first part of that is to recognize how ingrained our habits of countless lifetimes of behavior are rooted in ignorance. They're rooted in our misunderstanding of the world. And then training our mind to do a 190, training our mind to turn away from that habit of acting out of ignorance to acting out of wisdom. What wisdom is this? It's the wisdom that realizes how things truly exist. They don't exist out there in and of themselves. They exist as our projections. Do you know where Tibetans point to when they refer to their mind? Their heart. It's not the brain, it's the heart. We think it's up here. Western civilization says, the mind is up here, it's in the brain. So there can be a danger in translating Lojong as mind training, because we think about the brain. And that's not really what we're talking about here. Yeah, we do use our brain, But it's our mind that you were purifying with these lojos, not our brain. It's our thoughts, our emotions, our discriminations, our feelings, our motivations, all of our different mental factors. So it's not just an exercise for the brain, like lumosity on mind. You know, it's supposed to be an exercise to strengthen the brain, or like working a crossword puzzle, or anything like that. It's practicing and purifying all the mental factors that make us up. So Geshe-la likes to translate it as developing the good heart. The other thing to think about the word practice is that it's hard work. It's hard work. It takes sustained, continued work to practice on this path. Which path? To develop a good heart. Some of us seem to be born with more of a good heart from past seeds of our past lives. Some of us have a more difficult time, and everything in between, right? It doesn't matter. If you're a lojo, you're always practicing developing your good heart. Every day, waking, sleeping, in class or not, in the world or on your cushion. And then there's another meeting to Lojo. And it was put forth by someone named Chankya Rinpoche. Say Chankya?
Chankya
Rinpoche.
Rinpoche.
Chankya Rinpoche.
Chankya Rinpoche.
So the first Chankya Rinpoche was Nawang Losam Chundin, and he lived 1642 to 1714. And part of the Chankya lineage of lamas were teachers to the Chinese emperors. This is the peaceful connection between China and Tibet, right? Is that they shared the practice of Buddhism. And he is a former life of Pabonka Rinpoche. So when Pabonka Rinpoche was teaching in Tibet in the early 20th century, he was not identified as the Chankya Rinpoche because there were political difficulties at that time between China and Tibet. So he is called Pabonka Rinpoche instead of Chankya Rinpoche. The Chankya Rinpoche defined Lojong as Sempa Chempo Langri Tangpa, Dorje Sange Tsepe, Janchu Semjong Gi Dampe, Sikye Mar Drakpa, which means in English, diamond lion, which is the name of somebody, from the Langri Tampa region, who was a highly realized bodhisattva, made 8 verses of instruction on how to develop the wish to reach Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. So Chankya Rinpoche pulls out a quote that doesn't even use the word Jong in it. He uses a quote that uses the word Semjong. Sem and Lo, as I said, they're both words for mind. And here it's part of the phrase Jang Chu Sem, the mind of enlightenment. Bodhicitta, right? The wish to attain full enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. So, in other words, Lojo is advices in developing the mind of enlightenment, or the good heart. So what are the 8 verses? Diamond Lion, who was also called Geshe Langri Tampa, the Geshe from Langri Tampa region, lived from 1054 to 1123. And he is the author of the most famous Lojong text called the 8 verses. It's taught quite often to public talks by Tibetan Buddhist teachers. He was one of the Kadampa lineage. The Kadampas were the first Buddhists in Tibet. They were the first generation of Buddhists in Tibet, kind of like us here. And they would get together like we do and talk about the things that they were learning, and one would go off here and get a teaching from a teacher, and one would go off there and get a teaching from another teacher. One would go off to India and get another teaching, and they bring it all back and they talk about it, and they used it. They didn't just talk about it, but they used it. So he was a highly realized bodhisattva, a Sempa Chenpo. And he was one of the first Geshis, which means a spiritual friend. So the first verse from Diamond Lion says, "May I think of every living being as more precious than a wish-giving gem for reaching the ultimate goal, and so always hold them dear." So this is saying that the people around you are more precious than a wish-giving jewel. A jewel that will give you anything you want. How could anything be better than that, to give you anything you want? Because you can't conceive of your ultimate goal. You can't conceive of what Buddhahood is truly like. And so you can't wish for it properly. You can't conceive how nice it will be when you get your tantric enlightenment, even if someone were to explain it to you. And that's one of the reasons Tantra is secret, in fact. It's a self-protecting secret. You wouldn't even be able to think about it. So we wouldn't know what to wish for. So in that sense, anything that would bring about our enlightenment would be better than a wish-giving gem. And the only thing that will bring you to this is your relationship with the people around you all the time. So they are very, very precious. They are the ones who are going to polish your heart and make it shine. They are the ones who are going to show you where your obstacles are. They are going to show you where your difficulties are, where you need to grow and change. So we need to think of them as like, they're going to get me to heaven. Even if you're a pain in the butt, you're working hard to get me to heaven. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you, I love you, I love you, right? Test me, break me, make me learn to be kind. So to attain an ultimate angel's body, we have to do it with other people. We need to be around difficult people. And who are they? The people we see and work with every day. Right? We need that to be a real Buddha, to be a real enlightened angel. So that's the first one, because we can't conceive of Buddhahood or the ultimate goal. The second is the state of mind, bodhicitta, that wishes to reach the highest goal is more precious than a wish-giving gem. So the first moment of bodhicitta, you see all sentient beings. And it's extremely rare to even think of one other being, much less all sentient beings. But the moment you achieve bodhicitta, you see every sentient being. We're not talking just people. We're talking all those millions of grasshoppers up in the orchard right now. And the ants, and all the beings who live under the ground, and all the beings who live in the ocean, and all the beings who live in the sky. All sentient beings. must be incredible. And not only that, you have all this incredible love for them, and you know that you will get them all enlightened. It's pretty cool. The third is that Buddhahood is even beyond the rarity and preciousness of bodhicitta. So the third verse from the 8 verses is, as I go through the day, may I watch my mind to see if a negative thought has come. If it does, may I stop it right there with force, since it hurts myself and others. So, once in a while we're going to get upset or have a bad thought. Stop it immediately.
Once in a while.
Once in a while. How many times a day? There's 24 hours, 64 fingers snap. Master Shantideva says, be like a bump on the log, right? So the minute you start to feel bad towards someone, face it, admit it to your problem, not blame them. They are suffering the same as you, according to the laws of karma. Even one moment of slight irritation at someone has profound effects on your future. Right? We talked about it earlier. A single moment of anger destroys your root of virtue if it's aimed at a bodhisattva or higher. And do we know who's a bodhisattva? I don't. 5th verse. Some jealous person might do me wrong, insult me or something of the like. May I learn to take the loss myself and offer them all the gain. Does this mean that people are going to take advantage of us? You know what? If you do this, you can't lose according to the laws of karma. A positive action will result in a positive result. Any suffering that we experience can only have been created by a past karma from our past actions where we failed to give others what they had, what we had, and reacted negatively to them. And if you have taken bodhisattva vows, you are pledged to serve others as their servant and to assure that all their wishes are fulfilled, even at our own expense. Stop grumbling, stop complaining, and just say yes. That said, you have to do something to stop others from doing something that's negative. You can't just sit back. Not because they're doing it, but because you have the appearance of someone doing a negative karma. It is coming from you. They are appearing to you to be doing a negative karma. Therefore, you want to change how that picture is, how that appearance is of what you're experiencing, because it's real for you. So what state of mind should you have when taking a loss? Chanka Rinpoche says that you have to have two attitudes when you take the loss. One, you should enjoy it, have a good time, rejoice. Hey, that was great, they won the game. They are so cool, they are so smart. Rejoice. Realize that this act is going to get you where? Enlightenment. To enlightenment, yeah. If you're grumbling about it, oh man, I wish they hadn't won that game. They're not, you know, I wanted to win the Monopoly game. Whatever it is. Right? 2, don't have any regrets now or in the future. When we were talking about not giving something away until you were ready in the Bodhisattva's way of life, by regretting it, having something you have done, or we're talking about here taking the loss, regretting that you took the loss, either now or in the future, you can destroy your virtue that you've collected. So if your mind starts to question what you're doing, just tell it to be quiet. So that's one Lojong text. We're fortunate that in this course.
Yes, I didn't get the 2. You said there were 2 attitudes you have to have. One was rejoicing. What was the second?
Don't have regret.
No.
We have numerous Lojong texts from different teachers in this course. And this whole text together is called, say, Lojong, Gyelse. Lojong, Gyelse. A compendium of texts on developing the good heart. And this text was compiled by the great Bodhisattva, say, Munchen Kuncho Gyelse, who lived in the 14th century. And in this text are some personal advices, some Damnak. And they're composed by, say, Gyelwa, Yangumpa. Gyelwa Yangumpa. He lived 1213 to 1258, and he was a master of the Drukpa Kagyu tradition, which is another school of Tibetan Buddhism. And these are instructions that he passed on to his students in a personal setting. So these are personal advices. And the reading has excerpts from 10 different sets of advices. Some of them are named and some of them are not. And they're easily misinterpreted, so be careful. If you haven't had teachings on them, please get them. Like this one. The world is hollow and meaningless. Do not trust the lie. Your own mind is the Buddha. Go and meet your friend. Could be pretty obscure, right? Not clear.
Can you
repeat it? The world is hollow and meaningless. Do not trust the lie. Your mind is the Buddha. Go and meet your friend. So your own mind is the Buddha does not mean you are a Buddha. What this refers to is your Buddha nature, your emptiness, exactly. The fact that your mind is empty from having any existence independent of how you think of it and name it. Ming De Tat Sao. Merely name and label. It's that it lacks a self-existent nature. It's dependent on how you experience it and how you live it. So Buddha nature is your total, like your total availability. Right now, our minds are, very limited, but our Buddha nature is unlimited. It's vast. And Arya Nagarjuna says, in emptiness is the possibility of all things. So right now, if you are who you appear to be, You're experiencing your mind as a bizarre mixture of happiness and sadness, peace and anger, satisfaction and dissatisfaction, this constant roller coaster. And we're forced to experience our mind this way. And you know, your Buddha nature is not something inside your mind that just needs to be cleaned off. I'm not going to say if, when you collect the necessary karma, you will be forced to perceive your mind as that of a beautiful enlightenment. That is your potential. That is your Buddha nature. And that is what is meant by your mind is the Buddha. Here's another favorite. Nothing but the Dharma means anything at all. Throw the rest out like trash. It all boils down to dying. Pack light and take off now. Nothing but the Dharma means anything at all. Throw the rest out like trash. It all boils down to dying. Pack light and take off now. Pack light and take off now. The original Tibetan is something like, take speed with dry meat. Pack your dried meat and take off, right? It means don't stop to cook your lunch. Just throw some meat, just throw a granola bar, and a pear in your pack and take off. Take off where? On the path to enlightenment. Get rid of all that stuff you don't need. Those 14 pairs of shoes. Those, whatever it happens to be, they're weighing you down. You have to think about every item you own. You have to protect it. It takes an incredible amount of space in our minds to do that. All of the things that we own. So simplify so that you can dedicate your life to what is truly important to you. And in this context, we're talking for us getting enlightened. It might be something else for someone else. So is that path a physical thing? Like the paths in this retreat valley? No. It's not outside of us. Those paths are inside of us. So also, throw the rest out like trash. Does that mean the physical things? It can, right? If they are obstacles to us. I mean, if you are a high-level bodhisattva, you can have as much stuff as you want if it doesn't create an obstacle for you. It's not necessarily referring to some external thing. It's talking about what to take up and what to give up in your thinking. So yes, if you're thinking about your shoes and where did I put them, or your keys, or whatever it happens to be, is there room to think about something else? So I'm saying for me, it means both things. The literal definition of it is no, it's referring to what to take up and what to give up spiritually. So what's the test? It all boils down to dying. Death approaches every moment. So apply the test every moment of our life. Is what you're doing worth dying for? Is it worth trying to take care of my 14 pairs of shoes? Or would maybe 1 or 2 pairs be sufficient? Then maybe I could do something, think about something else. Maybe it doesn't matter. If I'm going to die in the next moment, do I want these thoughts on my mind? So Master Young Gumpa said of one set of teachings, keep these 7 Dharma teachings in your heart and let your Dharma practice be something that you do inside yourself. This sentence, which seems so simple, is really quite profound. And you don't have to limit it to just the 7 teachings. He then passed on to his students. It's relevant to any Dharma teaching, every Dharma teaching. What isn't a Dharma teaching? What does it mean to keep the teachings in your heart? What does it mean that Dharma practice is something that you do inside yourself? There are so many layers there. From the obvious to the subtle, as it works closer and closer in. So the third of the 7 teachings, excuse me, Master Young Gumpa is referring to is the reality of things is beyond the mind. So reside in a state where you hold to nothing. So what does that mean? The reality of things is beyond the mind. Does it mean that you're not sitting here experiencing reality? Is this temple not real? Is the sky not cloudy? Does this mean nothing you experience is real? Does it mean that the pain of a mother in Syria whose child has just died is not real? Does it mean that the people who have just lost their homes in Hurricanes Harvey and Irma is not real? It is your reality and nothing else. And what this means is that until the day you see emptiness directly, you've never perceived ultimate reality. It means that until that day, you have never seen that the way you think things exist as independent of you, outside of you, coming to you, is impossible. Absurd. There is a lack of things existing this way. And there is an absence of anything existing that way. Nothing has ever existed that way. Nothing ever will. Nothing ever did. Right? Ultimate reality is beyond your current state of perception, including our current state of perception. Right? So what about the line residing in a state where you hold to nothing? Does this mean to just empty your mind of everything? Sit in some spaced out state? You can do that on drugs. Is that what it means? No. It means don't hold on to things as having a nature from their own side. Your own mind, your own body, your own unenlightened, suffering, samsaring self. Because your mind and body are empty, you can reach enlightenment. And that's what he means by residing in a state where you hold to nothing. You hold to nothing as being self-existent. It all comes back to emptiness and karma, doesn't it? So there is a practice called the 7-step practice for developing a good heart. The Lojo Dunduma. Say Lojo?
Lojo?
Dunduma.
Dunduma.
Dun is point and Duma is 7. So the 7-point mind training, it's called a lot of times. Gyelse calls it the 7-step practice for developing a good heart. And for centuries and centuries, this practice was a secret practice. And it was not taught openly. Why? Because people were not ready to hear it yet. If they had, they would have probably dissed it. They probably would have put it down. They would have created an incredible amount of negative thoughts and energy around it. They would have disrespected it. So it was kept very, very secret. And the first person to teach it openly was Geshe Chikawa. Because he thought there might be a few people out there who were ready for this teaching, that it would help them. And if he didn't give it, they would miss it. They wouldn't get what they need. So he taught it publicly. And it's important to pass these along with correct explanations, especially the mystical sounding ones, the sections that relate to emptiness. So Geshe Kadampa, he was another Kadampa Geshe. He lived 1101 to 1175. His monk's name was Yeshe Dorje. Yeshe, wisdom, diamond wisdom. Dorje, diamond. I've also given you a counter spelling in the Tibetan, Chikawa or Chekapa. He was also known as. So I'm going to give you an outline of the 7 points. There's the preliminary. There's developing bodhicitta. Learning to use problems. Learning to use problems. Summary of the entire lifetime's practice. Measurement, which means having achieved Lojong. Pledges to keep, there are 18 of them, and advices on developing a good heart. Those 7, that's an outline of them. So there's brief essentials of the instructions. Say Tok Na.
Tok Na.
Tok Na.
Tok Na.
Tok means power. Na means 5. So the brief essentials of the instruction are combined in 5 powers you can use all throughout your life at the moment of death. It is necessary to have practiced all throughout your life to use it at the time of death. Because it is a very traumatic time when your body is being separated from you, who you think you are. And it's not a time you can begin to just start a new practice. You will not have the mental power to be able to do it. So it's something that you have to do on a daily basis so that it just comes automatically. It is your preparation for moving on. So there is a practice called POA, which is generally a secret practice. It's a practice to relocate or move your mind to a new state body, to send your consciousness into death. Okay? But the presentation we're going to have is open, and it's very important. And the first of the 5 powers, the first of the Tokna, say Penpa, Gito, Penpa, Gito. Penpa is to project, like you project an arrow, you project it out there. Gito is power, so the power, the projecting power, or the power, projecting power. It means to make a resolution for the future. I am aiming at that, and I am going to work for it. So this is a practice that we can do when we first wake up in the morning. We generate bodhicitta, and then we think of 3 to 5 concrete things that we can do during the other day to benefit others. What is the goal? Destroying your old habit of self-cherishing. And at the point of death, you would think, may I have rebirth where I can practice bodhicitta. And then you can carry bodhicitta in you to your next life. The second dope, say Gompa Gito. Gompa Gito. The power of habituation. Gompa, right? Meditate is Gom. This is a Gompa, a place where we come to habituate our mind. At any time where you're changing what you're doing, like even shifting positions, use that moment to remember and recommit your motivation for bodhicitta. I know people who do it with the telephone. When your cell phone rings, take a moment, recommit to bodhicitta. Then, at the time of death, because you've habituated yourself to using every action as a motivation to generate bodhicitta, at that moment, at death, you can say, may I teach others how not to die. The third power, say Karpo, Sabun, Gito. Karpo Sabun, Gito. Karpo is white. Sabun is virtuous seed. So this is the power of good seeds, white virtuous seeds. So figure out how to make pure white seeds. Every irritation in our lives is causing our aging and our falling apart. And you can run up the down escalator. You can reverse the process. You must first of all collect powerful, good karma, white seeds, karpo sabun. And to do so, we have to figure out what the most powerful good seeds deeds would be to plant those seeds. Why? Do we have time to fool around with small good deeds? And frankly, the most powerful karma is to serve your lama. Your lama. Assist them in teaching the Dharma to others and to serve the Dharma. That is, we have an incredible opportunity, those of us who live here at Diamond Mountain or have lived here at Diamond Mountain. We are serving the Dharma by working.
Can you speak a little bit loud?
Pardon?
Can you speak a little bit louder, please? Somebody asked.
Thank you. So, good deeds, large good deeds, strong good deeds. The second part is to figure out the ways to wipe out or purify our old bad karmic seeds. How do we do this? By keeping our book. And then at the time of death, we have these pockets, or it's kind of like, what is that? There's this game that has white and black balls in a great big glass. What is it called? You're smiling. Do you remember the name of it?
I don't remember the name.
White and black balls in a great big glass, and they're swirling around, and they're swirling around, and then one comes out, or however it works. And
Bingo?
Hmm?
Kind of bingo?
Kind of bingo, maybe not quite bingo. Anyway, we're like this. We have these huge, vast bowls full of karmic seeds, white karmic seeds and black karmic seeds. You can check and see which one is, how many black seeds and how many white seeds you have. Do you have more black seeds in your bowl at the moment than white seeds, or more white seeds than black seeds, right? At the time of death, we want a whole lot more white seeds than we do black seeds. Why? So that is the one that will ripen. It is the white seeds that will ripen. So prepare yourself at the time of death to give away all that you have, even the good karma created with your lamas. Purify your negative karma. Get used to giving away your idea of self, of you, of your personality. What would be the karma for giving away all of your good karma?
You would get a lot of great seeds.
You would get a lot of great seeds. Would you be giving away all of your good karma? No, you can never do that, because only good karma would keep coming back, and you would give it away. You would give away your good karma. And because it's such a good karma, like you give, in your mind you go, just a simple thing, may everybody have as much abundance as I do in my life. That is only going to create what? More abundance. It's not going to create you having less. So make sure at the time of death that those white seeds are predominant. The fourth power, say Sun Jimpa Gito.
Jimpa.
Sun Jimpa
Sunjimpa.
Gito.
Gito.
Sun Jimpa it means to rip out, right? To rip out the heart of your self-cherishing, and to rip out the heart of every bad thought that we have. When? Every day, every moment, all the time. Whenever a thought comes up, to only get what you want. Destroy that thought immediately. Do it all day, every day. If you do that, then at the time of death, you do a purification. You do confession of all of your bad deeds, all the ones that you're aware of, especially the vows you broke knowingly. Get rid of all regret. It's important to leave this world with a clear conscience. And it's important to believe that you have removed them. So there is no regret. So you disown any bad deeds you have done. I did them, they're done. I forgive myself, I forgive others. This was one of the biggest gifts my mother gave to me when she passed away this spring. The night I spoke to her, the night before she passed, I spoke to her and she said, I'm at peace with myself, I'm at peace with the world, I'm at peace with my children. She had finally forgiven herself for all the things that she had regretted ever doing in her life. And she had forgiven the people who she felt had hurt her in her life. This is Sunjimpagito. May we all do that before we die. And if we haven't, then at the moment of death. The fifth toke is a Munam Gito.
Gito.
Munam Gito.
Gito.
Anybody remember what Munam means?
Prayer.
Prayer. So at night, just before you go to sleep, close your eyes and do your rejoicing. Review your day's efforts at helping others to get the things they wanted or they needed. Rejoice in that, and then make a prayer that you get bodhicitta. May all of this goodness that I did today bring me to bodhicitta. Once you have bodhicitta, you will be jigme. You will be fearless. Because you will see all the truth of Buddhism. You will see your future lives, and you know that you're going to reach enlightenment soon. And how does this work at the time of death? It's like a Tonglen. You pray that all the bad deeds, the mental and physical suffering of every being should come into you now and die with you. Use your death. You dedicate your death to destroying others' bad karma and pain. And when the death of pain comes to you, remember that. So anytime you're in any kind of pain or suffering, if you have a headache, may this be the last headache in the world that anybody ever gets. By my having a headache, may that burn up all the seeds in the world for every headache. It's a powerful practice. Then when you die, like Lord Buddha, try and lay on your side, with your head on your hand underneath you, and leave your body to this world. So Geshe Chikawa, he's giving us all these 5 ways that we can live and use this in our life. And when he was on his deathbed, something extraordinary happened. He's calling out on his deathbed, I can't go there. I can't go there. And his disciples who are gathered around him, they're like, really worried and concerned, and they're going, what? And he goes, it's not working. I was praying I can pass to the hells, the lowest hell, for the sake of every living being. And it's not working. I can't go. All I can see is angels. All before me now is the Buddha paradise. So he was carrying out his own advice, performing the practice of transferring his consciousness, poa, in the tradition of the greater way. Of taking on others' suffering, of getting rid of his own negative karma, which I don't think he had any, but he's showing us the way. I always love that story. I can't go, they won't let me. Because of his great love and compassion, he wanted to go to the hells, the lowest hell, where they suffered the most. And because of that love and compassion, he couldn't. So having heard this story, we can dedicate it to us being able to do the same in every moment of our life. Thank you. And we'll continue with Lojo this afternoon. Do the second half. If you get a chance, your meditation is reviewing the 5 powers and how you can apply them to your day today. Are there any questions? Okay. Let us dedicate all that we've heard here today and shared today to becoming fearless in our practice. Luki Jushing Metokcham Mira Lingshi Yande Empati Sange Shindu Mikte Wargi Jokun Namdak Shingla Chuparsho Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniryatayami Kiwati Kewokun Sunam Yeshe Soksoshin Sunam Yeshe Lejunwe Tampar Kuni Toparsho. Thank you.